really?
That was 7.
That's not bad.
That's pretty quick, man.
On the way to red line from 5,000 to 7,000 RPM is the sweet spot for glorious VTEC noises.
If you close your eyes, you're in an NSX.
Okay, so you have an Integra, but you're a greedy person, okay? You want more torque. Not only do you want more torque, but you want it whenever you want it, but you don't want the traditional K20 or K24 route. So herein lies the question, okay? I've driven a few cars that have solved this problem. Now, Russ's V6-Swapped MR2 comes to mind, really linear torque, great car. Go watch the video if you haven't watched it. I've driven a couple E30s, S50 swap, S54 swap. So here we have a V6 Integra. Now, where is this V6 from? Well, at the time, some of the best Acura products on sale were the CL Type-S and the TL Type-S, okay? 270 horsepower, naturally aspirated V6. And of course, here we can see that it does not fit under the hood of this Acura. But is this engine going to ruin what makes the DC2 such a fun car to drive, which is of course power to weight ratio. You can huck them around. That's what I love, at least, about the DC2. So we got our friend Elvis here from the Golden Drive. You've seen him on the channel before. Last car we drove was an F12, so a little bit different here, but we're gonna go have some fun in the DC2. Let's go.
You and your passenger have to be best friends because you're like...
By the end of the drive, forced friendship.
I know.
Oh yeah, he did say it shakes around 50K. He's like, when you drive, just keep it above 50K.
What the heck?
Yeah. And when does it go away? It's shaking.
It's just trying to shake the entire time. That's weird. Yeah, I wonder what. Yeah, probably driveline.
I mean, when I think of this stuffing a V6 into an Integra, I think, hey, why don't you just take like an NA1 Acura NSX engine, V6, and put it in? But
wait, is this the same engine?
No.
No? Okay, I was like, oh, I don't know a lot about Honda, so I apologize to everyone that's watching this video. So what was in the NSXs?
The biggest change is this is a single overhead cam.
Okay.
The NSX was dual overhead cam.
Oh, I see.
There's a lot more like R&D that went into it to make it high rev. But this is still VTEC, so.
Yes.
I don't know what it revs to.
Oh, really?
That was 7.
That's not bad.
That's pretty quick, man. It keeps going. Wow.
It just keeps pulling.
But I don't, did you feel, okay, we'll pull again. I didn't really feel a distinctive VTEC kick.
No, it was more gradual. Let's see if we can tell.
Yeah, we'll start at like 3,200. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, it felt
just after
5,000, yeah.
It's not really any torque steer though.
No, and it's interesting, it's not giving you, like a torque steer. I don't feel a lot of torque steer.
The steering's really light. Now we'll see in the corners here if the weight, because that's obviously the obvious downside, or potential downside here.
You feel any torque steer?
Not really.
No.
And versus like a turbo.
Wow, this thing grips.
It does, even with 205s.
And it's a wet day too, so.
It is, yeah. I'm not looking to understeer into a ditch.
No, that would not be good.
So my name is Greg, and this is my 1995 Acura Integra with a bit of a swap.
Why did you not just buy, let's say, a TL Type-S or a CL Type-S?
Not buying a TL Type-S or CL Type-S. So the engine actually came out of a CL Type-S. Those things are bloody heavy. You're looking at 3,800 pounds roughly. Don't get me wrong, they're nice cars, they're comfortable, they're sporty-ish, but you're looking at a car that weighs an absolute ton. Where something like this weighs just shy 2,500, and I now have, on paper, 260 horsepower.
Not to mention the CL is not a great looking car.
CLs are an ugly car. I could not, there's just no way. There's also no aftermarket support for them.
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was doing the swap, I was definitely, I did a lot of drag racing when I was in high school. I know power to weight is king. You can have 500-600 horsepower, but if it's sitting at something 6,000 pounds, you're not moving that fast. Something like this is very low stress. You know, it's a visceral thing, and naturally aspirated means that, you know, when I come out of a hole, there's no turbo lag. I don't, you know, coming through a corner, I'm very predictable. So when I do things like autocross or do track racing, which I'm looking to move into, it's all about that predictability of NA. Because a turbo, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've driven a Turbo K. At, you know, especially the aftermarket ones, they always, you know, they're slow, and then hit you with turbo. This thing, no matter what gear I'm in, if I put my foot into it, I'm going to move. There's enough torque that it doesn't matter.
There was a little bit of torque steer, but the thing is, it's not like a turbo where it spools and then it
Yes, and you like, and you start, the seat turns brown and everything. This one, it feels like, at least from you drive, it feels very compliant.
Yeah.
You can hear more of the engine sound than exhaust.
Induction,
yes.
More like natural. I don't know about you. Generally speaking, I like that better.
I really do, yes. Yeah. That little...
I mean, it's okay. We gotta take into consideration 400,000 kilometers, many owners.
Yes, 9 owners, he said.
He was telling me earlier, one of the owners had a high compression V18 with nitrous.
So this thing has been abused quite a bit.
It's really hot in here.
Just adjusting the heat.
It's hot in here. He doesn't have AC right now, but it's fitted for AC.
No, that's perfect. That's awesome.
So he can wire that all up.
And it's also, so far, it's a good swap. Like, everything seems to work except the temperature gauge. And he drives this thing like he intended, like that's what he built it for. And I'm surprised everything works. Like, usually with a lot of engine swaps, like a lot of things don't work. Granted, like, this is not a perfect swap. Like, it's not, there are still some things that need tweaking or need fixing. But 100%. For the most part, like, everything works. Like, you have the coolant level, it's digital. So that's fine that it doesn't work on the actual gauge cluster. But.
And the speedo, I mean, to me, the
speedo
you need is
works.
All you need is attack. Speedo's optional.
Yeah.
Woo. But that's the thing, Hondas, all their pedestrian engines, even like the top tier ones, they all have VTEC.
I know, that is cool.
By default becomes an enthusiast engine if you put it in something like this.
Yeah.
Right.
I am surprised by the way it handles though.
It's not bad. It still has most of the DC2 characteristics, like the charm.
Yes.
The J Series engines have about as much support as a plug and play as you can think of. But they don't have the same kind of K-tax, so it was actually very cost effective. But like, I spent 2 years basically planning, trying to think of all the little things that could go wrong. I would say if you know what you're doing, you could probably get it done in a couple solid weeks. The guys online always say, yeah, 2 days, weekend, not a problem. And I'm sitting there going, no, take your time. Yes, there's a giant hole in the hood. I was trying to get away with that. So I bought a mount kit from Hasport. They make one for this, the EKs, and a couple of others to put J Series in. It's dual height, and I went, great. I did all the measurements and went on paper. If I put the shortened oil pan, do the lower mounts, great, I'll be fine. There's another guy who did it. I can do it too. Only to realize that once I dropped the car on those mounts with that oil pan, I was sitting a 1/4 inch from the ground between oil pan and concrete and went, well, I guess the engine's going up. So it was kind of more of a calculated pivot more than anything. So cut the hood. Plan is to build myself a cowl for this so that it's not just exposed anymore. But otherwise, from a technical standpoint, the only thing I would say is just make sure you got a buddy who can weld. I can't weld myself, so he did all my exhaust stuff and did a phenomenal job. But otherwise, most of this is pretty bolt and go.
I think the engine, it feels kind of at home here.
Yeah.
I think the engine feels...
a lot more than I thought when I heard of what the engine came out of. Like, I was like, oh, really? But it feels good. It feels balanced. The sound, man.
Revs up quick. Oh, that was a bad shift.
That induction noise just sounds glorious.
Shifter's good too. It's smooth. It's not. I mean, he was worried that maybe 4 to 5 I would miss a gear, but it's just click, click.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a quick car, man.
It's quick. It's actually not bad. When you were saying 260, when you were told me how much power this has, I was like, that does not sound like a lot. But I feel like in a car like this, it's actually adequate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even surprised at how quickly it revs up.
I know.
You know?
I'm still curious to what the red line is, though.
I hit rev limiter at 74.
Okay, let me see.
That's where I hit a hard stop.
I know. I'm like almost scared to go any higher because I don't know where the red line is. Oh, it looks like it stopped. Yeah, around like 7,000 RPM. Yeah, I hit it there. So yeah, it is like 7,200 RPM.
Yeah.
And it sounds amazing. Like on the way to red line from 5 to 7,000 RPM is the sweet spot for glorious VTEC noises.
If you close your eyes, you're in an NSX. I'm in it.
I've actually never driven an NSX before, old or new. So,
man, every time you do a second gear pull, I'm like, it feels like it has more torque than it did the last time.
It just, ooh.
He warned us.
Yeah.
Was that a bump stop or was
I don't even know. Yeah, hopefully not the oil pan. That would be bad. That would be very bad.
Yeah, so the wing is authentic Mugen. It does have an incorrect badge on it. People kept stealing the badges. They're like 50 US a piece. So basically, yeah, gave up, went and grabbed, just aftermarket cheapy badges. I'm sorry, Mugen gods, apologies. Yeah, I mean, that wing is worth more than what the shell's worth. Yeah, when it comes to, some of the tax on some of these, parts, it's getting really ridiculous, to be honest. But yeah, so the manifold idea, it's essentially we had to take the factory manifolds. Now they're cast out of the head. Certain ones, certain heads, if you take a look into the J series, some of them are cast directly in. These ones are actually bolt-on with multi-port. So that manifold's very small, very tight, so we reused it and then took essentially what's called the J pipe, which comes down from the manifold under the engine and actually joins up to go to single exit. We cut that to absolute shreds to basically fit it in such a tight package because it would have sat way too low. I mean, it sits already pretty low as is, but it would be even lower if we didn't basically shorten some of the runners, bring it up, get it tucked up underneath that oil pan. Wiring is one of those things that a lot of guys just don't have knowledge in. I could have probably figured out the harness, but I decided to go online and do some research, see if someone made a plug and play. There's a guy out of Georgia, PJ's Customs. Dude, seriously, thank you. Because it's basically a plug and play adapter harness. So it uses the factory CL harness and then plugs directly into the body and connects everything. So all my gauges work except for a temp gauge. Seriously, it made the swap so much easier than it could have been. B to J series, you're looking at the engine is on the opposite side. So that means the transmission and everything like that's flipped. So that also includes like power steering. So it's all the reservoirs and stuff are normally located on the driver's side. Had to move those over to the passenger side. It's pretty tight in there, but serviceable, which is cool.
It's so different from a turbo K swap. When you go turbo K in a lightweight Honda, it does add like a kind of manic quality to the car where it does make it kind of frightening. Like it might throw you off the road. This doesn't feel like it's gonna throw me off the road.
No.
Which I actually, for a daily, I kind of like it.
This car's fun. And in the corners, again, I don't know what coilovers he has, but it looks like it's been set up really nicely.
It still rides pretty good.
Yeah.
Like considering it's a tuned car.
Yeah. There are some vibrations like in the drive line. And so that part is kind of unsettling, sort of. And so I'm like, is it gonna break if I do anything weird? So like that's what's kind of making me almost reserved to like actually like push it. And also it's wet, so I don't want to.
100%. No, yeah. Especially with the weight up front too. Like, if we were to really push this, like, how would it understeer compared to a lighter front?
Yes.
He said it was 75 pounds heavier than the factory engine.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not bad though. So as a tall person, it's kind of hard to. I mean, I do have a lot of headroom, but for like the fitting, I wish he would go with a smaller wheel. a smaller steering wheel, just so it will feel. I feel like I would be more engaged as a driver with a smaller wheel. But
100%. Yeah.
what is your favorite thing about this car?
The engine, I think it has potential.
Yeah.
I think it has huge potential, and I mean, Greg knows it's an ongoing process to iron out these things. We are part of the R&D process, or the testing process, I guess. Yeah, I guess just the shifting feel, the engine itself, and the torque.
Yeah, the shifting feel and the torque, yes. And so yeah, I think like he did a good job with the engine. Like you said, like there's still things that need to be ironed out, but for the most part, it's a glorious.
It's a good package. It actually works. I wasn't really expecting this to work as well as it does, but
yeah.
All right, you guys. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks, Elvis, for coming out.
No, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun as usual.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out Elvis's channel, The Golden Drive, you can watch our F12 video we did.
That was fun.
Very different experience.
We might be doing another Ferrari at some point.
FF.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Stay tuned, you guys. All our social links are in the description. Same with Greg's. We'll see you next time.